Hey, I'm Mark from Performance Bicycle, and today I'm going to show you how to remove and install external bottom brackets. Removing and installing external bottom brackets is a pretty straightforward job once you have some basic information about your frame and the crankset that you'll be using. Tools you'll need: the appropriate wrench for the bottom bracket you're removing or installing, waterproof grease, a metric ruler, a torque wrench. You can start with either side, but I start with the non-drive side out of habit. The non-drive side is a right-hand thread, so you're going to turn the wrench counterclockwise to remove it. The cups are installed to a pretty tight torque specification, so make sure the bike or frame is fully stabilized and the wrench is fully seated on the cup. Once you break the cup free, it should thread out easily, and you can most likely turn it with your fingers. For the drive side cup, there will be a left-hand thread for an English threaded bottom bracket or a right-hand thread for an Italian bottom bracket. So clockwise to remove the English cup or counterclockwise to remove the Italian cup. Again, the cup should turn easily once you break it free. There is usually an internal plastic sleeve to protect the bearings from contamination, and it will typically come out attached to one of the cups. And that's it for removal. Okay, so installation is a little more involved. If it's a road frame, it's a pretty straightforward process because the cups are going to thread straight into the frame with no spacers needed. If it's a mountain bike frame, you need to determine which spacers you'll need and where to place them. Mountain bike bottom bracket shells typically come in 68 or 73 millimeter widths, and you'll need to determine which yours is to get the spacers in the correct orientation. The bottom bracket shell width is a easily measured dimension. All you need to do is grab a metric ruler and measure across the width of the bottom bracket shell. Now that you know your bottom bracket shell width, you can determine how to use the spacers that are included with the bottom bracket. The best source for that is going to be the instructions that come with the bottom bracket, or if you've misplaced them, there are usually good reference sources online. On a SRAM GXP bottom bracket, you'll use one 2.5 millimeter spacer on each side of a 68 millimeter bottom bracket shell, and no spacers on a 73 millimeter shell. For most other external bottom brackets, you'll use one 2.5 millimeter spacer on the non-drive side and two 2.5 millimeter spacers on the drive side for a 68 millimeter shell, or just a single 2.5 millimeter spacer on the drive side on a 73 millimeter shell. Once you have your spacer configuration sorted out, then you'll want to prep the bottom bracket shell for installation. Make sure that the threads in the bottom bracket shell are clean and free of any paint, metal shavings, or any other debris. It's also recommended that the bottom bracket shell be faced. It's a process that removes a small amount of material from either side of the bottom bracket shell to make sure that it's perfectly parallel. It's not 100% necessary, but it can help eliminate creaking and prolong bearing life. Also, if you have a carbon fiber frame, you'll want to check with the manufacturer before you face it. You'll want to apply some high quality waterproof grease to the threads of the bottom bracket shell, as well as to the lip of the internal plastic sleeve to form a barrier against the elements. Now you can thread the cups into the frame and torque them to the manufacturer's specification. Once again, English threaded bottom brackets are going to have right-hand threads on the non-drive side and left-hand threads on the drive side, while Italian threaded bottom brackets are going to have right-hand threads on both sides. Once the cups are torqued properly, you are ready to install the crankset. And that's it for external bottom bracket removal and installation. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact our tech support line or stop by a local Performance Bicycle shop.